We took a short break. We freshened up our drinks, and we're back with you on this Sunday evening podcast session.
I didn't freshen my drink, man.
Oh, no. Straight from MoJoe Studio.
Well, do you
want to take a minute? I'm going to try. Let's go for it. I'm going to try and ramble on here.
Right on. Very cool.
So,
Very cool.
What should I start with? Because I got a lot of things on my mind. I've been watching the news. I think what I want to start with is this whole Jeffrey Epstein thing. So, here's the scoop. As far as what I know about it, I try to get as many different sources as I can. And so there's this guy who, who's made a lot of money. He was, I think he was a hedge fund manager, something to do with Wall Street. He knew Donald Trump. He knew ex-President Bill Clinton. He knew lots of famous people. I think they even said Prince Andrew was a friend of his or an acquaintance. A lot of high-level, very powerful people were connected with this guy. Now, this guy had a plane, he had an island, and he was also a pedophile. He had a system set up where his former girlfriend or his girlfriend would recruit and train practically these girls, underage girls, to please Jeffrey Epstein and his clientele, I guess you could call them, or friends, influential friends, So, yeah, very, very, very bad dude. And so he finally got caught in Florida, but then mysteriously and beneficially for him, his whole court case that he was pretty much caught dead to rights on got whittled down to basically nothing. He had to sleep in a jail cell at night, and that was about it. But now, recently, things have come to light, and he's basically got busted again. And this time, they're getting ready to throw the book at him. And so he's in a federal prison in New York, I believe, and he attempts suicide. And so they put him on suicide watch, which, smart thing to do, right? Because you want to keep this guy alive. His case is pending. He knows a lot of powerful people. He's a pedophile. So this thing could get ugly real quick if everything comes out about this story.
The amazing part is how many might have been exposed. We don't know. The big names, of course, are Clinton and Trump. And,
Prince Andrew.
And Prince Andrew.
And I've heard other big names.
MBS, the Mohammed bin Salman guy.
Oh, really? Him too?
I thought.
I hadn't heard that.
See, again, I read a headline. Maybe it was fake.
Maybe
about him.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah. I got a bone to pick with him too, but anyway. Yeah, so, and then they take him off the suicide watch, and lo and behold, he hangs himself. And now the coroner's come out and said, yes, that's what happened. He hung himself, blah, blah, blah. But I've seen other reports from prisoners that have been in that jail that Jeffrey Epstein was being held in, and they said that there's no flippin' way that he would be able to hang himself in that cell. No way.
One of the technical things about that, too, was the gauge of the sheets, or the strength of the sheets that he would have had access to in his cot.
His clothes are paper.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Essentially,
that's what basically they were saying.
He was a 200-pound man. There's no way that it would have supported.
That's what I heard from one of the things.
Let alone broken one of the bones in his neck. It could not have possibly done that.
That one bone that they were looking at.
And then I read another article, listeners, possibly fake headline, but it got my attention, that not long before he was found dead, maybe 2 weeks before, he was heard in great spirits and looking forward to his trial. And he goes, I've got hundreds of millions of dollars I can spend on the best lawyers, and I'm going to beat this, or at least get it down to a year in prison, and then I'm free again.
I had not heard that.
He was a well-studied man. We know that. He was an intelligent man.
He couldn't have been stupid because he had assets, and he had lived this life for quite a while without being caught.
Time.
And then now they're saying, well, the guards fell asleep. Oh, there's no video.
Or the guards altered
all
logs.
These things are just very convenient. And so a lot of people are saying conspiracy, something went down, he was fucking murdered. But it's
now, you said that with certainty, MoJoe. You think he was murdered?
It's so fishy. I want an investigation. I want those guards interviewed. I want all the video from that jail cell loaded up and investigated. I want answers. I don't want these people to get off the hook for what they did. I mean, I'm tired of the powerful and the rich and the famous getting off, you know, where that guy who's selling loose cigarettes in New York City is now dead because some cop put him in a chokehold. Or, you know, this other black dude got shot from behind because some cop went berserko. I mean, it's like, I think one of the guys I like listening to, I can't remember which one, Pac-Man or the Humanist or this, you know, the Secular Talk. One of these guys were saying, we live in a two-tiered justice system, without doubt. The upper class has their justice system, and everyone else has theirs. You know, you get busted for having weed in your pocket. You know, it's like,
or for selling single cigarettes.
But they
on the street
can sit there and recruit girls and basically have this little sex ring going, and it looks like they're going to get off for it because their key witness died in prison, a federal fucking prison, after he tried to commit suicide. I mean, that at the very least, that warden should be fired. I mean, come on, he tried to commit suicide. You leave him on suicide watch for 2 weeks. This is ridiculous.
Let's follow the conspiracy theory through. That means that warden was powerless in what went on. Absolutely powerless. They just told him, stay in your office, or and better yet, stay home, because Epstein's going to die. And, you know, the further away you are from this, the better for you, warden. Stay away from this, you know. And he still got thrown under the bus. He got reassigned, I heard.
Oh, did he? I hadn't heard that, but he should be, because, that's ridiculous. It just doesn't add up, man. It doesn't add up.
Yeah, I'm not a conspiracy theory person.
Me either.
I'm really not
normally.
You know?
But this one
JFK
just reeks.
Conspiracy.
This one just reeks.
A lot of questions. Ton of questions.
Ton.
You know, a ton. What was another big one, too? Another headline. Readers or listeners, please let me know. This is simply another headline that I saw on the internet. I won't say YouTube. I won't say CNN or Fox, or, you know, I just saw it on the internet. There was shrieking and screaming coming from his cell around the time of his death. Did you read any headline about that?
No, but I saw a picture of his cellmate. This guy was like the fucking...
No, I read he didn't have a cellmate, and that was against the rules, too.
I don't know. I saw a picture of the guy that they claimed, again, fake news, I don't know, but this guy was a beast, man. He was jacked beyond belief. He could have just broke...
You saw a picture of his cellmate?
I saw a picture of this guy, and he was huge. He was like the Incredible Hulk, man.
In the cell together, or just like a
They said
mugshot
cellmate. It was a mugshot.
So, yeah, you saw a picture. I had not seen that, dude. We might be reading opposing and both fake headlines.
That could be. It could be. All I know is it reeks to high heaven. Someone better be investigating and figure this thing out. And someone trustworthy, because, you know, I don't know.
You know, it wouldn't be awesome if, like, Hillary Clinton slipped into a Catwoman suit and, you know, scaled the walls and broke into his cell and his window and strangled his ass, and then got home with, you know, just a little sweaty. That's all she was, a little sweaty.
I don't know.
Superhero
I don't know why I find
like
that amusing, but yeah, that's a very amusing picture.
It's,
Damn it, Bill, you did it again. You know, and Clinton's lying about it. He said, I was only on that Lolita Express 4 times. Well, he was on that plane 24 times.
Oh, well, if I may, Joe, if I may.
Jump in. That was the headline I heard.
I have a chance to offer perspective on the number you just mentioned, 24 or 26. I heard as high as 28 times, something like that. But a lot of these flights were very long distance when you're heading down to private islands and shit. Mm-hmm. And so you land a lot and layovers a lot, and you're told you have to disembark, you know. So each leg is counted as a trip on the jet. So, you know, 12 trips might have been one destination.
No, I had never heard that. Okay.
Doesn't really diminish that much, though. It doesn't. Bill Clinton flew on his jet many times, possibly down to Pedophile Island, as it's been called in the press.
And there's this one picture floating around of Trump with his arm around a girl that looks way, way too young for him. And
I haven't seen
Jeffrey
that one.
Epstein, and it's like, dude, the girl did not look like she was all there, if you know what I mean.
Oh, I know that. Yeah. I was focusing on the underage part. The only footage or photos I've seen were with Trump at Epstein's place, dancing, partying going
Yeah,
on.
I saw that video too.
The Buffalo Bills cheerleaders. They even specified what NFL team it was.
Oh, really?
It was the Buffalo Bills cheerleaders that were dancing around there.
Yeah.
And they're anywhere from 20 to 28 years old, you know, usually. 26 maybe.
They're of age, though.
Yeah.
That's a
I haven't seen
that's
this,
a different
this
story.
young one that you mentioned.
She looked young. Maybe she was 18. I don't know, but
it's tough to know. It is,
But-
dude.
22 minutes.
Nice.
So
I
here's
could talk
something.
Tulsi all night.
Here's
dude.
something that's bothering me a little bit about our political system, and this came up for me pretty heavy this week. And I think I've mentioned
Just
it.
one thing. Cool.
No, a lot of things, but I mean, it boils down to this. I do not feel represented in our government. Marker. Damn it. Why is that, MoJoe? Is it because you're living in Utah and it's a Republican state and you're not a Republican? Is that why you don't feel represented? Not exactly. I mean, that's part of it, but that's not where I'm going. So here's Tulsi, right? She's trying to get into this third debate. She's got all the individual contributions she needs, right? She's got support, dude. She's got over 130,000 small donors, and I'm one of them. But she hasn't been over 2% or over in a number of polls. So this is the DNC who sets these hoops to have to jump through to make these debates, right? And so she hasn't been, she hasn't got up there in some of these polls. Some of the polls she's got up there in, the DNC is saying, oh, that's not an official poll. That's not a poll we recognize. You know what I mean? It's a fucking joke. I know Tulsi's.
We need a term to describe this.
Yeah, what is it? It's what's the word?
Of course, the umbrella term is politics. Now we need
and
another one.
That might be enough, but it's kind of obstructionist in a way.
Smeared. She is getting smeared.
And here's the part that makes me mad. So there's this other guy running. I don't even know his fucking name. He's the keeper of the status quo kind of thing, but he's rich, right? So guess what he does? He has these little things he does to get his name bumped up in the polls. He gets his $130,000 individual contributors by selling bumper stickers or other weird stuff. You know what I mean? He plays the system well, and he's got the money to do it. He just spams advertising out like crazy. I think he spent like $7 million to get his spot on this next debate. And it's so frustrating. It's things like that why I don't feel represented. And it's coming from the DNC, and that's another reason why I no longer consider myself a Democrat, is because the DNC does shit like this. They did it to Bernie last time, and they're doing it to Bernie again, and now they're doing it to Tulsi, and it just makes me so mad, and it makes me feel like I'm not represented. The candidates that I'm about are not giving them a fair shake, I don't feel like.
I've never been a Democrat. Never have. Okay. And never a Republican either. No, accurately, I am anti-Republican. Mm-hmm. And so by default, that would seem, that means you're a Democrat.
Right.
If you're anti-Republican, you're a Democrat.
Right, but there is a category they have that's called independent. So if I have to be something, that's what I would be.
I guess that's the Midland, easy way out, the easy stance to take, but I have to also. There's no other term other than independent.
Or you can call yourself a progressive, I guess, or a liberal is another term they use a lot.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of labels. I'm not really into labels. I don't want to label myself anything, really. Yeah. At this point.
I'm a topic guy. Call me the
policy guy. I'm a policy guy.
Okay, policy party then. Yeah. I'm tell me the policy. I'll tell you if I'm a Democrat or Republican.
I'll tell you where I stand, yeah.
I'll tell you
there you go.
Where I go, where I am. Yeah. And the thing is, we agree on so many things. That's what's so frustrating, is Republicans and Democrats agree on so many things. Yeah. And it changes. It is improving every day. Dude, I think if you go 6 month polls, you'll find percentages of Republicans increasing who support gay marriage or transgender rights or something like that. It increases every 6 months.
Or to take another look at our gun laws.
Yeah, they get on that one too.
Yeah, even NRA membership is up there in that one.
Yeah, and the number of them who are now opposing the death penalty, that increases year by year.
Okay.
Not steeply, certainly not steeply, but a percentage point or two or half a percentage point every year. that's going up also.
Okay.
So things are getting better. I'm very optimistic.
Well, good.
You know,
I'm glad you're optimistic.
I still hate corporate welfare, and I hate that these $100 billion corporations don't pay income taxes, and we're in endless wars. And I still hate all that stuff.
Right.
And that people still go bankrupt because of the health bills, and that our schools need massive funding. So how many was that? Was that 6 or 7 that I just laid out in a row right there about how much I hate America?
I want to get back.
Fucking hate it.
Wow, no. I want to get back to, again, not feeling represented. And here's another. Did you watch Bill Maher this past Sunday, his show?
Friday. He comes on Friday nights.
Yeah.
I did most of it.
Okay, so maybe you can help me with this one then. So he had this guy on, a senator from Rhode Island, and he said, Senator, how many people in your state? He said 1 million. How many senators do you have?
2. Sheldon Whitehouse?
I can't remember his name. There are 40 million people in California. How many senators do we have?
2. Yeah.
2.
In
Is
New
that
York.
fair? What Bill's question was. And,
Texas.
Bill has a point. I mean, I know the founding fathers said, oh, this is the way we're going to balance it out. But is it balanced? I mean, and then that senator went on and he said, there was a point when I was a senator in Congress and I did the math. And he said, I figured out that even though the Republicans had the majority in the Senate, they represented fewer people than the Democrats did, to the tune of 40 million fewer people.
40 million.
40 million fewer
Yeah,
people. Isn't that crazy, dude? We are not represented in the way I think the founding fathers meant for it to be. Of the people, by the people, but yet the minority party is calling all the shots and calling all the putting all the judges in place and shit. I don't feel like this country is going in the direction where the majority of the people want it to go, because we're not accurately represented.
You mentioned the direction you want to see the country go.
Yeah.
The way it should.
Yeah.
Let's just look at where it is right now.
Yeah, let's take a look at that.
It was very aptly described by the situation you just gave. The 40 million number, the very, very accurate. MoJoe, I'm afraid what we need now. Not afraid. Forgive me. I hate to use the word fear or afraid or anything. I believe what we need now is another founding father to come forth and give us a solution to this electoral college thing and the distribution of the population thing. They had the right idea when they put these ideas in place back when they did.
That's true.
They had the right idea.
You know what we need then is another, what's the word, Continental Congress that comes to mind, but it's when everyone says, okay, let's revamp the Constitution.
Let's take another look.
Let's take another look.
But the problem is you need senators and governors and vice presidents to join you,
and
in this effort.
You need them to do it in good faith, which I think we don't have anymore. We've kind of forgotten how to argue productively. We argue, but it's not productive. It's stalemate. It's obstructionist. It's
stalemate, obstructionist.
I'm gonna be against everything you say because it's you.
Because it's your party and you're representing that party.
That's all it was. I mean, that's the only way to explain what the Republicans did to Obama. Obama was trying to work with them left, right, and center. He put in a Republican health care plan, and they just turned their back on him every chance they got.
And the Democrats
what else
are doing
do you
it to
cause
Trump
that?
now.
What else do you cause that? Call that. Yeah.
The Democrats are doing it to Trump now also. That's undeniable. But
I guess so, but
it's,
yeah, I guess. But I come back to policies, and I'm like, his policies are just like, what?
Oh, these tariffs, dude. Let's get back to the tariff thing.
Where are we at now?
Okay, I saw one of our YouTube one of the common YouTube channels that you and I like. I think it wasn't Jimmy Dore. It wasn't Kalinsky either. It was the Rational National.
I like him. I think his name is that's the other guy. What's his name? Rational National. Oh, I think it's David Dole. Rational National. He's that Canadian dude, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Oh, yeah, I think it's David. His name's David.
And he came out with something so to the point
where
Trump is doing these tariffs.
Mm-hmm.
and most of them are against China. If not all of them. I don't know. I haven't read any of these bills.
Well, let's just focus on the China one. That seems to be the most recent one.
So Trump is enacting these tariffs.
Right.
He's starting them. He's the one behind them all.
Right.
And he will tweet out and he will speak behind the podium saying these are good things for America.
Yes.
This is a good thing for America.
This is going to be good. We're good.
And then he tweets that he's going to delay them after Christmas because that would be good for America. So either your tariffs are good for America or they're not. And then if you're going to delay implementing them because that would be good for America, then
well, he's the master of talking out of both sides of his mouth.
Maybe he's right, though. Maybe
he's right. Maybe I don't know. You know, that's
do it after Christmas.
China,
that's good for America.
China's come out and said they're no longer going to buy shit from us. They're no longer going to buy soybeans and corn and all that stuff. And the soybean farmers are sitting there saying, "Well, I hope we can outlast them." You know. In the meantime, I'll take these
checks that I get.
These checks I get to help me stay afloat while no one's buying my soybeans. Their soybeans dropped from $10 a bushel to $7.25 a bushel. Basically, their cost. So they're not making any money anymore. But they're still hoping. They're hoping.
You know, MoJoe, I was going to ask when our checks are coming in. You know, for being developers. You know, computer programmers. When's our check coming in?
Well, I guess when I don't know, how would that work? He would have to put
I already know the answer.
Tariffs on India?
I already know the answer. Is you and I are in an industry that doesn't require something like that.
No.
Our skills are always needed, and I'm so grateful for that.
We're in a pretty good position as of now. Yeah, that's true.
And you know, it's an enviable position, I believe, where we've learned how to do some things that
very few people
for some reason. Well, not very few. No, there are very many. That can do it.
However,
but for some reason, they are regarded as stuff only smart, gifted people can do, and I've struggled with that one because I want to teach them how simple this stuff is. You know, to insert a record into a database is so simple.
True.
So easy.
But then some of the people that use my software, they can't even figure out how to hit the insert button.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, maybe it's not going to be so easy to teach them how to program.
Well, there is no insert button. Is there an insert button on your keyboard? I've never seen an insert button on my keyboard.
Exactly. Yeah. So I don't know. I think I'm worried because I think China's going to find other avenues for their soybeans and other things. And then when Trump decides he's ready to lift the tariffs or strike a deal, well, I don't think China's going to be interested in it anymore. I'm not sure. I mean, I'm just worried. I don't know what's going to happen. It doesn't fill me with hope and optimism, though. I'll tell you that right now.
I'm trying to find ways, MoJoe, to worry more about my thought processes. And that is that I oversimplify things, and all I want to do from what I've seen and what I've read and what I've heard on the internet and on TV is let's go after the rich folks and the rich corporations. Let's go after them big time with, you know, torches and pitchforks. Let's go get them, you know. But why do I think that way? I'm trying to analyze this. Why do I feel...
Again, that takes me right back to I don't feel represented. They got all the influence. They write the laws. They do. They write the
laws that allows Amazon to not pay anything in federal tax.
Yeah.
But MoJoe, is that also a fake headline? Did Amazon actually pay tax? But we've read fake headlines.
Well, then Amazon owns the Washington Post, essentially. They haven't written any articles to the contrary. Jeff Bezos, the owner of Amazon, owns the Washington Post. That's why they write 16, 17, 18, 20 articles against Bernie Sanders. They never once write an article on the possible benefits of Medicare for all or free education or wiping out the $1 trillion of student debt.
And getting rid of for-profit prisons. And
money in politics. They never write those stories, do they?
MoJoe, the topics are so obvious, aren't they? I think for you and me and the vast majority of the American people, the topics are obvious. Let us challenge ourselves, not with 5, but the top 6 topics. Not in any particular order, but let's name them. May I start with the first one that I find the highest priority? Money in politics.
Yes,
big
and
money
that
in
one's
politics.
moving up for me almost daily. Like I said, I don't feel represented, and the more I investigate it, the more I see about it. That's why. It's because of the money in politics.
It causes the problems.
I think it's the humanist. He basically says money, it corrupts everything it touches, and in this capitalist society, the amount that money has penetrated our political system, it's corrupting it. It's just destroying it.
Now, let us simply identify what the first problem is of the 6. That's what the first one is. Let's do another podcast on ways to address it, perhaps.
Yeah,
and I'm talking even
I don't know if I have any
constitutional amendment. I have an idea for an amendment to the Constitution that could take care of big money in politics or dark money or corporate money.
Are we going to talk about it now, or do you want me to save my comment?
Let's go to number 2.
Okay, go to number 2.
And this one's on you. Of the 6, what would be number 2 for you? I just named dark money, big money. What would be number 2?
Money in politics, you said. We don't have to call it dark or big. It's just money in politics in general.
Well, no, money's got to be there. Money has to be there. It's the origin of it.
Well, yeah, okay, yeah, good point. I was going to say, so corporate money in politics,
there
maybe.
you go. Yeah, big money.
Big money. Okay, let's go big money, because some people are individuals and have big money.
I prefer the term corporate. Corporate money in politics. Let's get rid of that.
Well, yeah, but I'm thinking big money also is applicable, because it doesn't have to come from a corporation necessarily.
It can be wealthy donors.
Yes,
it can be the Koch brothers.
Yes, or that dude in Vegas who owns a casino. I forget what his name is now.
Steve Wynn. Or Adelson.
Adelson, that's the guy I was thinking of, yeah.
What would be the second topic then of the 6? What would be number 2? And I've got one on my head, but
help me out, because
healthcare.
Okay, healthcare is huge, yeah.
Healthcare.
It doesn't make sense that companies are able to make money off of a human, in my opinion, right, just to have basic healthcare covered. I mean, it's just gross. It's gross and inhumane.
It's a good word, gross. It is gross. I agree with that. Yeah, that's a good term. It's gross when your children are affected. You can't take your daughter in to have her earache looked at because it's going to be a $150 copay.
Someone takes their loved one into the emergency room because they're having chest pains or something, and they say, "Oh, you don't have insurance? Well, sorry. See you later." They die of a blood clot in their lungs.
Well, you and me, MoJoe, and everybody we hang out with and love so much, we can afford a $150 copay to have our daughter's earache looked at.
Absolutely.
We can afford that. We can.
Yep, I would do it.
How many thousands cannot?
Yeah.
How many every day? And I'm talking every day. Listeners, please know the statistics here. They're very important. Every day in America, today, over 1,000 families go bankrupt because of medical bills. Over 1,000. Well over 1,000. It's 500,000 a year. If it were only 1,000 a day, that would be 365,000 every year. It's actually 500,000 families go bankrupt every year. That's well over 1,000 a day. A day.
So if you wanted to make America great again, wouldn't that be something you'd want to fix? Wouldn't that be something you want to fix?
Well, yeah, I would.
I
sure would.
And
Sweden, Denmark, Italy,
a lot of countries have showed us the way.
A lot of them have done that.
They've demonstrated it can be done.
But why hasn't it happened in America, dude? Because of the hundreds of billions in profits that these corporations make.
Billions and billions of dollars in profit.
Corporate dollars in politics.
Yep.
That's why.
Well, yeah, that's part of it, yeah. It kind of goes back up to option 1, doesn't it? Yeah. Interesting. Okay, so what's your number 3, dude?
Number 3 is the least sexy of them all. Is education.
Yeah.
I pity you politicians out there. Notice, Bernie's popular and Warren is and Trump, and none of them talk education. Let's pump serious dollars.
Well, Bernie talks about education and the fact he primarily talks about higher education and
tuition-free education.
Tuition-free education, and also getting rid of student debt. He thinks if he got, basically, from what I understand, he wants to, if you get rid of all that student debt, say, look, You don't owe us back, have to pay us back for that, all those student loans that you got out to educate yourself. Something we want our citizens to do. We want to encourage our citizens to be educated. I mean, what would that do to our economy? They would have money for houses and cars, and they
Who would?
And
for houses and cars?
The people that have their debt wiped out. They're trying to pay back their student loans. They don't have money for cars or houses. They've got these student loans hanging over their head that are as much as a friggin' house. You know what I mean? So I think it would really give our economy a kick in the butt in that way.
Yeah. Student debt forgiveness.
Student debt forgiveness, he talks about a lot.
Yeah. That's a debate in itself. And it's not one of my top 6. It's not one of my top 6.
Well, doesn't that fall under education? No,
no, I'm talking.
Okay, you're talking about lower level education as far as like kindergarten through 12th grade and maybe even preschool and stuff like that.
Yes.
There's a lot of talk about preschool now because they've found, the studies have shown that if you start your kids out even younger than kindergarten age, it's very, very, very beneficial. Mm-hmm. And being a parent of a daughter who was, we sent her to a private preschool before kindergarten, and the amount she learned in those early years just blew me away. I mean, it is those kids that young are capable of so much more than we give them credit for, and they're just ready to learn, ready to soak it up like a sponge. By not taking advantage of that, I think we're doing the country a disservice. Does that fall under number 3? Does that fall under number 3?
Yeah. Okay. But I was going to take number 3, education, to kind of a level other than debt forgiveness and free college and tuition and everything. I was going to take it to more of a global kind of Star Wars scale on that. Let me ask you this question, MoJoe. I'm going to try and have some fun with this, and I hope you'll have fun too.
I'm having fun, dude.
Why do elementary schools have to be so big? Can't we put one on every street corner, like payday loan centers, and have one teacher there for 18 students? On every fucking street corner. We don't need school buses anymore. There's a little teaching school right over there for our young kids, and one over there too, and there's 2 more over there, and why Butler, it just got rebuilt, and it is a palace now. It's an absolute gigantic, magnificent palace. Saddam Hussein would have loved to live in this place.
Wow. Let me go check that out.
Why not every street corner? Why don't we have...
Sounds expensive though. But yet I see the Mormon church do that. Just every other block, they build these beautiful churches. They're not huge, but they're a good size. Right, and I don't know how many citizens support that church, but evidently it works because they're all well taken care of. Everywhere. They're not too big. They're not too small.
MoJoe, I mentioned payday cashing loan centers. You mentioned LDS chapels that are everywhere. And many of them on the most valuable ground that you could possibly hold. Drive up Wasatch Boulevard from here up to Hidden Valley Country Club. You'll encounter 3 or 4 LDS chapels that are on gigantic parcels of land that are incredibly valuable. And why not a teaching school there? Why not a clinic there instead of
so they can do
something
it
to teach you about golden plates and Joseph Smith Jr.?
It would be interesting, to have it more local, like you say, because I know
have it closer to home. Closer to more homes.
How many LDS chapels are within walking distance of my house? I would have to say at least 2, if not more. Walking distance.
One of them.
I'm talking a short walk. I'm talking 10, 15 minutes max. 2 at least.
Short walk.
At least 2, maybe more.
Yeah. I would guess there are more. Yeah. And then, now let's combine those 2. The LDS chapels, as you mentioned, and the check cashing places. Let's wipe both of those out and replace them with 1 or 2 room schoolhouses that attract the 6 to 10 to 12-year-olds. And by the way, when you come here, we'll have a peanut butter sandwich and a banana for you, maybe a cup of cold milk. You know,
I used to love those cups of cold milk in kindergarten.
They made everything go down.
And if it was a peanut butter sandwich day, we didn't get them every day, but it was a special day when we did get them.
Yeah. This would be a better world, MoJoe. The one I'm trying to describe now.
I know, but I think you're
world?
getting off the topic a little bit. I thought we were going to talk about solutions in a different segment. Right now, we're just talking about the
6. That's
the
right.
6, yeah.
So that was 3 then.
Yeah.
Let's rehash the 3.
Okay, yep.
Number 1
Summary.
was
money in politics.
Money in politics.
Big money in politics.
Yes, dark corporate money in politics.
Big corporate money in politics. Number 2,
healthcare.
Healthcare, money in healthcare. It's gross.
The bankruptcies in healthcare. The families devastated every day. Over 1,000 families every day.
You want to make America great? Take a look at it. Yeah. Number 3, education.
Education.
It's not, what are you saying? It's not prevalent enough. It's not accessible enough.
It's not a sexy political platform. It's tough.
It's on too big of a scale. You want to minimize. You want to downscale it a bit. I'm not sure exactly. It's number 3. Just that it's very, very important, and we're not giving it the importance. We're not.
We're approaching it the wrong way.
Yeah.
We're building palaces for students to come into.
Yeah.
Let's build enclaves.
So
here
education being, we're not doing it right. Let's call it that.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Fair enough.
What's number 4?
Number 4, I'm going to say is very topical, very contemporaneous, today is the endless war, the America policing the world.
Dude, one of my pet
Let's
peeves.
get out of that,
What the fuck are we doing already?
Yeah. That one has so many tentacles.
Again, it's gross. It's just gross.
Another good employment of that term. Indeed.
What are we doing?
Why are we doing this? Because of, we need to pay people to keep making bombs and bullets. We need to pay people to keep making bombers instead of jetliners.
Yeah, I saw this YouTube video the other day, and it kind of explained how we got to the place where we are in the Middle East right now. So it was like, I think it was after World War II, and the Middle East was still kind of a happening place, man. Back in the day, Iraq and Baghdad was the center of a lot, and I think they even mentioned the city of Basra. You might remember that from the war. It was like a hub in that area. It had large ship ports and things like that, and it had 2 rivers coming into it, and we just basically destroyed all that. So I guess I'm getting a little bit off where I was going with that, but basically what happened is after World War II, you want to make sure the U.S. and Russia too, they were protecting their interests, and the interest was that oil. So they make alliances with Saudi Arabia, they make alliances with Iraq, they make alliances with Kuwait and all these countries in that area, and you funnel money, and you give money to their governments, and you try and be friends with them and all this, but then one thing leads to another, and now I wish I could remember the video, but it explained it really well. You're selling arms to Israel. Now you got to sell arms to Saudi Arabia, and now these guys are mad. They want arms, and now Russia's selling them arms, and then it just turned into this big mess that we couldn't get out of, and then we've done so much damage, and that kind of brings us to where we are today. It's so sad what we did to Iraq. I mean, I don't think Iraq's going to recover, dude. I think they're just fucked.
No, I think historically they will eventually. I'm not thinking a decade or 2 from now, or even 100 years. But at what point, Baghdad was the intellectual, cultural, academic
that's what I was
center
trying to tell
of
them.
the
Thanks for
entire planet.
corroborating that. Yes, that was a hub. It was huge. It was a lack of it, but it was a functioning, amazing city.
This is something where I feel I have to say it. I have to say the 2 words: Trump supporters. That's something they don't know. They've not been exposed to. That at one point in human history, Baghdad was the cultural, intellectual, academic center of the entire
universe,
planet.
as far as we know.
Universe, as far as we know. And it wasn't that long ago. It was only 1,000 years ago or so. And,
something like that.
But it certainly isn't today. It's not today.
And I really
many
feel
other
bad.
places
I
are
feel
not.
bad about it, and I don't know what I would do if I were in the people's shoes that have to live there and have lived through all this mayhem. I mean, I just don't know what I'd do. They don't have water anymore because Turkey's building all these dams, and Iran's building these dams, and those two mega rivers that they had flowing through their country that, where there's water, there's life. And that's the reason Baghdad and Basra were such huge cultural centers, is because of that water. That water is polluted now, and it's going away. It's drying up. What the fuck are they going to do? How are they going to recover from that? What, Turkey's going to open up their dams and give them water again? I think they're screwed, man. I don't know.
Are you talking the Tigris and Euphrates rivers?
Yes, I think those are the two I'm talking about.
And if my education was correct back in middle school, it was along the banks of the Tigris and Euphrates where civilization began. It was the first settlements we can recall in archaeological history.
I believe that's Basra. That's where those two rivers come together.
Mm. And what's the river called after they're joined? Is it the Euphrates after that?
I'm not sure. I think shortly after that it dumps out into the ocean because very large ships can come up to Basra, or at least they used to be able to their ports there.
Interesting.
Yeah.
MoJoe, we're on the Middle East right now, we're specifically talking Iraq. May I ask if you've had any chance to investigate the gentleman that I suggested a few podcasts ago, Christopher Hitchens?
No, I have not looked him up yet. I've been dropping the ball on the Christopher Hitchens thing.
Yeah, it's quite all right.
Okay.
It's quite all right. To many, he's an obscure.
Maybe me seeing this video on the state of Iraq now and how sad it is, and how desperate it is, that maybe I'll be more inclined to look him up and see,
Yeah, sad and desperate. Let's pursue that for a moment.
Sure.
In Iraq right now, sad and desperate.
Yeah.
Have you seen recent footage that I haven't seen?
Yeah. I told you, I just saw this video on YouTube. I forget, again, where it came from. I wish I could remember all the sources from all this info. I sit there and I program and I pour this info into my head and I spew it on my podcast, and that's just how it works. And so this video was talking about, like I said, Turkey's got every population all over the world is expanding, right? They need more. They need more water, more resources. So Turkey's building all these dams to feed their people, to irrigate their fields. And that's water that feeds directly into the Tigris or the Euphrates River, right? So the river, I think Baghdad's built right in between the two rivers. It's not where they join up, but it's right between them.
It's close by.
And it's drying up. And Iran also has tributaries and things that feed into these rivers, and they're building dams. And so, again, it's just, so you got Iraq, or Baghdad, Iraq, that wasn't a very green country to begin with, but they had those two rivers, and where there's rivers, where there's water, there's life. They had that really fertile center area, but it's just drying up. And then the wars pollute those rivers, and then the ISIS came along and polluted the rivers even more. And then sewage, because the U.S. bombed all their sewage plants, so there's sewage problems, and it's just sad.
The U.S.
and
also repaired the sewage plants.
They attempted to. They did not. There was corruption. Where there's money, there's corruption. Millions of dollars just disappeared that were supposed to rebuild these facilities.
I deviated from your point, though.
Yes, but it's sad and desperate. Convince me otherwise. You can't.
I need to see the same footage.
I'll try and send you the link if I can find it.
Yeah,
again.
Please. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I guess what I'm suffering from now, if suffering is the right word, is that I haven't heard any news out of Iraq. So
it's been a long time, isn't it? Pretty interesting.
Great, then. Yeah. It must be fine.
Well, they said they did beat ISIS back. This video did say ISIS is controls a fragment of the amount of territory that they did before, but the damage has been done. That's what the video was basically telling me. So, I don't know.
Yeah, dude, we live by headlines, really, don't we?
And snippets and short videos.
And footages that we see and still photos that we see. We live by those, really.
Yeah.
And look at the life we lead. All of us, all of our friends, all of our jam partners.
Yeah.
Look at the life we currently lead.
Pretty awesome.
It makes me want to sacrifice a small part of this great life I lead so that somebody else who isn't can have a little taste of it. You know, it makes me want to do that. But how do you do that? The best thing I've been able to do is go to a local children's hospital and play music for the sick kids.
That's awesome, dude.
That's the best I can possibly do.
That brings me back to Tulsi, service before self, right?
Service.
That's
yeah.
tough. So service, how
up.
can we serve? I think I really hope you can turn this project of yours into something that is really is a regular thing. It's viable and it impacts lives. You know, I think that would be amazing.
You talking JamBourne?
Yeah, if you want to say that, do we need to marker that out?
I don't
want
think
to say
so.
it right
I thought
up front?
about it, but
Okay.
I'm ready to put it out there.
Go for it, man. JamBourne,
Thank
yes.
you, MoJoe. Thank
and
you.
I'm excited for this next guest we're going to have on our podcast because I think we need some info and some background, some help in this project because I really do want to help you if I can. I think one of the first things we need to do is talk about songs. I mean, we know a lot of songs. I mean, I think we're over 200 songs we could probably get through pretty decently these days.
That's the least of my worries.
But how many of
Least
them
of my
are
concerns.
child-friendly? Because these are children we're playing for. Are we going to rewrite lyrics? Are we going to find...
Sometimes.
We might have to. Are we going to find better songs that are more child-friendly and parent-approved? You know, these are hoops or things we gotta jump through, you know.
All the above, dude.
Yeah. So I'm interested. That's going to be one of my primary questions when we talk to her is, okay, how do we get parent-child approved songs? How do we pick them? How do we find them?
And you know what? She's not going to know.
Oh, really?
She will not know the answer to
dude.
that. Please remember how locked down music therapists are in a hospital setting. They are locked down. They cannot share any information about any patient they play for. They cannot do it. They cannot expose the name of the parents of the patient in the kids' hospital.
I just want to know songs that are approved that would be welcome, that wouldn't offend.
There's only one way around it, MoJoe.
What's that?
And I'm working on it, is you have to get approval from the parents of the child in the hospital. That's the only legal way around it. That you cannot they can't come after you. If the parents of the child agree for you to play them a song, sing them a song, then you're clear.
So every single song on your website is going to be something that a parent specifically requested for their child.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
They're the ones I would be communicating with. I'm going to have their email address, and I'm going to send emails back and forth. What song do they want to hear? When would you like us to play it? And we will be live streaming at 10 a.m. on Saturday morning.
That's perfect, dude. Yeah. That's awesome, man.
And hopefully it works out.
I hope so too.
Thank you for this line of questioning. Thank you for this.
Well, I think about it. I really want this. I really want this to be a success, dude. I really hope I can play a small part in helping you make it a success. And
small
I think
part,
about it.
MoJoe. Really small part. Come on, man.
Just keeping my ego in check, bro.
I appreciate that. Modesty. That was modesty on MoJoe.
Yeah.
MM. Modest MoJoe. No, it should be great. The website should be done soon.
That's going to be awesome, man.
Daijo's been working hard on it. You know, I've been paying him good hard. Well, I've been committing a crime with MoJoe, or not MoJoe, Daijo. I pay him cash on the table. I offered him a certain number of dollars per hour. He comes over and does 3 hours worth. I pay him the requisite dollar amount on the table, and no taxes, no W-2s, no W-9s. That's it. So. You know, but I equate it with paying my neighbor's kids for coming over and mowing my lawn. You know, it's the same thing. I just give them 5, 10, 15,
there
20
you go.
bucks. You know?
When does that become a problem?
Where is that, dude? I just laid it out there for you.
Yeah, that's pretty bold, dude. Where's the line?
Any of you district attorneys out there that can make a case, come get me. Come get me.
One of my new favorite YouTube channels is this guy. I forget what he's called. I think it's Legal Eagle or whatever. He's this lawyer who lays out these cases and he talks about them in really not simple, but easy to understand terms. He's a really good educator. And he says, this is how the law works, blah, blah, blah. This is how it goes down. This is why they're doing this. This is probably why they're doing that. It's really kind of fun.
Legal, name it again?
I'll send you a link, but I think it's Legal Eagle.
Right on.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
Sounds
Seems like his heart's in the right place. You know what I mean? He contributes portion of his proceeds to charities and things like that, and that's cool. I think if we ever make any money off this podcast, I would like to do the same. A portion of all the profits we make should go to a charity. You know, and we can shop around for charities. There's tons of them out there, and one that's close to our heart. Like I really like St. Jude's. I think what they do is amazing. Until we have healthcare for all, I think we need to support that hospital big time, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Children.
Children.
You know, maybe we can get them involved in your project at some point, because that would be a huge.
I spent 2 years up at the local children's
Primary
hospital.
Children's is a great
Primary
hospital.
Children's.
It's a great
Let's say
hospital.
the word. Let's go ahead and say it.
Yeah.
Spent 2 years up there, and I played more for the families of the sick kids than the kids themselves.
Cool.
And dude, of all of them, I have no idea which ones were facing bankruptcy. I have no idea. No clue. Which were covered, which weren't. Even worse, MoJoe, which of them were covered but still were going to go bankrupt? Even though they were covered. They worked for Xerox or Amazon or Walmart or Safeway, whatever. Yeah. Which of them were covered and still were going to go bankrupt? I had no idea. But I could just sit and look and knew it was some proportion of them.
Certain percentage, for sure.
Yeah. Some of them were. Yeah. Some of them were just fine. They were friends with Steve Young, the Hall of Fame quarterback who started Sophie's Place. He started, essentially, his monetary contributions began the music therapy program
at
Primary Children's. So anybody in his family or associated probably wouldn't have much problem. Wouldn't have any, insurance issues, bankruptcy issues. Mm-hmm. Of the many I played for, I have no idea how many went bankrupt after we played music together. I have no idea. Yeah. Makes me sad. That's how it is in America.
That's how it is. And I think you mentioned earlier about how we need a change. We need a revamping. We need a coming together and just saying, look, we need to do things differently. This is not working anymore. Something along those lines. I really think Bernie is he's one of the people that can do it. He's closest
to the right idea.
I think so. He's as close as we're going to get right in this election cycle, I think. I mean, Tulsi's really close because she's so anti-war and she really seems to have...
Is she not Medicare for all either?
I think she's waffling a bit on that. I can't remember. I think I saw something on the Rational National or a Humanist report that said she's not as clear as... That's why I want her as vice president, because I need someone in there as president that's gonna advocate for that and not be waffly on it and not be wishy-washy. And Bernie's been saying this for so long that there's no way he's going to change his tune once he gets in. There's just no flipping way.
He won't. He's been doing it for 30 years. He's had the same views for 30 years.
Still liking the Bernie Tulsi ticket, and so, maybe it's not the end of the world if Tulsi doesn't get into this debate and drops out of the race. She can still be vice president, possibly,
It goes back again to the healthcare debate, the way it can go back and forth, and the way that, you and I, MoJoe, are very aligned on how we view healthcare and which way it should go, which way it should move from here. I'll never forget, raised in this room right here, in this home, as I was, my dad, who I now have to recognize as a more conservative person than me, more conservative than me. And he said, well, the reason we don't have free health care here in America, MoJoe, is because that means anytime somebody gets a hangnail, they're going to the doctor. Anytime somebody gets a little booger in the corner of their eye, they're going to the doctor. Anytime anything happens, they're going to the doctor, and that's just going to cost money. And
I've heard that argument recently.
Yeah, recently. If
Medicare for all kicks in, everyone's just going to be going to the doctor, and it's going to be crazy. It's like, okay, pull on the reins a little bit.
That's the shit we have to deal with, dude. As progressives,
is that what's happening in Canada, in Norway, in Sweden? There might be a little bit of that initially. because people have been without health care for so long.
They're gonna go check.
They're gonna go get their fucking toe checked out. Yeah, exactly.
The mole on their head.
There's gonna be a little bit of that initially, but I think it's gonna mellow out after a while. Come on, man. That's a pretty lame argument in my opinion.
Let them know where you read that. I'd like to read that author.
What's that?
About there might be a little bit of that up front, but it's
no. That's just me. Dude. I don't think I've read that anywhere.
Then I know.
I've heard that. I heard that argument that there's going to be people going crazy. I don't know if anybody has dispelled it. What I just said, but maybe I don't know. I hear all this stuff. Come up with my own way of saying it. The same thing,
dude. And we try to come up with our own stuff, our original viewpoints. We do that a lot.
Yeah.
But what about all of us who are fed such a constant stream of the bullshit article headlines and the fake news stories? Do we need something in our educational system to teach young people how to identify articles, headlines, pronouncements to investigate further?
I don't know if we need so much of that, but you know where I'd like to bring up or to promote more is learning how to argue. Learning how to debate, learning how to say, look, I don't get where you're coming from, or say, this is where I'm at and why. This is where I'm at and why. My daughter was in debate, and that's all that is saying, there's two different ways of looking at things. We need to learn how to argue productively, learn how to argue without vilifying each other.
I got your point. Here's the point I researched. I'm coming back at you now.
Exactly. Facts on the ground. Where are your facts on the ground? Let me see them.
Well, the problem, I guess, then, MoJoe, is that in real life, we're not timed. Like in a debate, they get 3 minutes or 6 minutes to make their point and do their thing, But in real life, we're not timed.
Dude, did you see how many views the Bernie Sanders Joe Rogan podcast got?
6 million plus.
9 million and
it's
counting.
Up to 9 now.
9 million.
It's up to 9 now, really, dude? Really?
Yes, no lie. 9 million.
That's fantastic.
That's fantastic. Gives me hope. It gives me hope.
Who do you want for Bernie's running mate?
Tulsi. I want Tulsi.
I want Tulsi. I do too. Who's your second choice after Tulsi?
Warren, probably.
Who?
Warren or Yang? Maybe.
Yang.
They're probably tied for my
Yang. Definitely over Warren.
Yeah. Okay.
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Forgive
me. I'm not trying to be.
No, that's cool. I like Yang a lot. I haven't seen him talk recently, but he's been on a lot of podcasts. He's definitely working it, man. I think he's qualified for the third debate, which is good.
And dude, you know what I'm hoping for, and I hope this makes internet sensation. I hope this goes viral for all the wrong reasons. That I hope Bernie Sanders runs with Tulsi Gabbard and they win the election, and then Bernie dies within like 18 months. And Tulsi is the president of the United States of America after that. I forgive me, YouTube.
You're crude, rude, and obnoxious. That is not PC, dude. That's funny. That's like Bill Maher rooting for a recession.
Yes, it was. Yes.
I love Bernie, man. I want to see him.
I do too. I do love Bernie. I do. He said a couple of things I don't like. A number of. Well, I'm sure with you too.
Oh, possibly. I don't know.
Can you identify? I can identify two.
Okay, mention them. Maybe I've heard of them. Maybe they bug me too.
I'm going to paraphrase.
Yeah.
White people in this country don't know what it's like to be poor. Don't know what it's like to go to bed hungry every night. We just don't know what this is like.
He said that? Yeah, that's not right.
I watched that in
yeah,
debate
I grew up in a town, nothing but white people, and there were poor white people.
I'm going to go try and find that again, though.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing that. Yeah, send me that link. Yeah, send me that link.
I wonder if it might have been a deep fake video that I saw. Have you seen these deep fakes?
Dude. I saw a deep fake with Joe Rogan just today. It was hilarious because they put Joe Rogan's face on the face of Mike Myers in that movie Austin Powers, the evil villain dude. Mm-hmm. $1 million, but it's Joe Rogan's face, and it looked pretty good, dude. I was impressed.
It's the things they can do now are amazing. So Conga Joe was here Thursday night after our Thursday night golf league, men's league thing, and I showed him a clip on YouTube of Bill Hader. Do you know Bill Hader?
I've heard the name.
He was on SNL for a while, Saturday Night Live, and master impressionist. And this channel that I showed is called Control Shift Face, meaning as soon as Bill Hader starts talking in the voice of the person he is doing an impression of, they change his face to look like the person he's impersonating.
Get out. This is on YouTube?
On YouTube.
Oh, I got to find this.
Yeah. Well, how about next break? I show it to you.
Okay,
next
sure.
break.
Okay.
And so when Conga Joe was here, Bill Hader, an incredibly talented person, SNL and master impressionist, when he was doing Arnold Schwarzenegger, Conga Joe looked at the screen, now granted without his readers on, so maybe he didn't see it so clearly, but he just said to me, "MoJoe, it looks like he's turning into Arnold Schwarzenegger. Is that actually happening?" And I said, "Is that what you're seeing? Really? You're seeing that? Really?"
Wow.
I've kind of stunted us a little bit.
No,
now I
good.
want to watch it.
We're talking about deep fakes and things like that, and we're talking about fake news and all this, and how we need to learn how to constructively debate with each other, because it's only going to get tougher to decipher fake news from real news and what's true and what's not.
And what's the key, MoJoe?
So
education is the key.
Education is
the
learning
key.
how to argue, debate, talk without vilifying each other is going to be a key too, I believe.
Yeah.
I really believe that's true, because otherwise, if we just, I saw this deep fake video, of course you're not going to know it's deep fake, and this is what happened, so screw you. It's like, no, let's get to the policy, let's figure out what we want to do, let's debate it, give me some facts on the ground.
And it's always the problem, is policy always has to be come up with, doesn't it? Laws have to be enacted that affect everyone.
Yeah.
The law here in Utah that says that they cannot bring you 2 drinks of the same kind at the table. Whether you're in a bar or a restaurant, doesn't matter. They can't bring you 2 drinks at one time. That's a law. That was enacted. That was voted on by the legislature. That is now a law in Utah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Doesn't mean I'm a drunk, listeners.
It's never bothered me. I don't know. I can handle 1 drink at a time. That's fine. Whatever.
Well, what if you want a sidecar, though?
You know what happened to me the other day, though? It was kind of pissed me off. I'm 53 years old. I do not look like I'm under the legal age. I haven't been carded in forever. I go to this restaurant, and this kid asked me for my he asked me for my ID, and I said, "What? I want a beer, dude. You need to you need to see my ID." And it was more than that. It wasn't just he needed to see my ID. He needed to take my ID.
Scan it?
No, I don't know if he needed to scan it or what, but he basically wanted to take it as I don't know, what do you call it when you give something to, like a collateral kind of thing, like giving your car keys when you rent a motor scooter or something, or a bicycle. I don't know, that kind of thing. He basically wanted to hold it while I drank my beer, kind of thing. I was like, fuck that, bring me a water. That was the weirdest thing that's ever happened to me. I've never happened to me before. It hasn't happened to me since. You ever had anything like that happen where they said, "Oh, we gotta take your driver's license while you drink that beer," kind of thing? It was like weird, man.
Joe, I gotta say, never one time have I been treated like a terrorist.
I was treated like some underage drinker. It was weird, but I think I've got us way off track now. Where were we before you brought that 2-drink thing up? Oh, laws, policies. That's where we were. Yeah. Anyway, I want to kind of jump back to Bernie real quick, if I could, before we wrap this up. We're at 1 hour and 16 minutes right now.
Really?
Yeah. Hard to believe, isn't it? Did you see the whole thing with Israel not letting not Ilhan Omar, but 2 of the Congress people?
Was she one of them?
No, it was someone. Ilhan? It was a couple other names that I can't remember. But it was basically 2 Congress people wanted to go over to Israel, and Israel said no because Trump said don't let them come, kind of thing.
That's how it was reported to me in the press.
Yes,
that's how I received it.
And then Bernie apparently got reported the same way, and he was like, "Well, seriously, Israel, if perhaps if you don't want to let our congressmen come over there, maybe you would be so inclined to not accept the billions of dollars of aid that we give you every year then." kind of thing. I think, of course, Bernie said it much, much better than that, but I think he just basically crushed it. Can you believe the nerve of another government that takes aid from us, is our ally, to not let a couple of Congress people come over there to see what the situation is like? One wanted to visit her grandmother lives over there. You know, it's like, oh my God, are you serious?
Interesting, man.
Yeah, I was just kind of blown away. And good going, Bernie, for saying what you said and for standing up for.
Well, and he's got the capital, dude. He's got the capital because he's a Jewish man.
Yeah,
he has the capital to stand behind that statement. As sad as that is,
that's kind of what it takes these days in these politically correct, constantly changing landscape of
look at it this way
decency
too.
And decorum. You know what I mean?
Is it a fact, MoJoe, that Israel? That's the only way I can say it. I'm not going to say the Jewish state or the Jews or Jewry or anything.
Israel right now has a right-wing government, much like ours right now.
I was going to put it this way: Israel as a country today could not exist if it weren't for American aid. I wonder about that. I don't know.
I don't know either.
We provide them all the strategic weapons they need to return fire and put in smart bombs and grenades here and there. And we do all of that. But you know what? They get attacked a lot too. They get rockets fired into their territory a lot. They do. You know, and it comes down to religion, MoJoe. It comes down to religion. The answer is simple.
That just might be another segment.
Good call. Beautiful call.
Thanks for listening. I hope we didn't offend. I hope we helped you question some of the beliefs you have in your head.
And we apologize for all the markers. So many markers.
We let it hang out a little bit in this one, so you won't hear everything we talked about. We just can't.
But you know, it was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. I'm glad we got it out there.
Yeah.
I feel better already. Hope you feel better.
And we'll see you again soon.
I think we're going to have one more segment, so we'll see you then.